Avinash Sable and Sreeshankar made India proud by winning and qualifying for their respective events. Sable finished third in the Heat 3 of 3000 meter steeplechase with a timing of 8 minutes and 18.75 seconds, whereas Sreeshankar became the first Indian to qualify for the finals of the men's long jump event. Unfortunately, Tajinder Pal Singh Toor couldn't participate in the men's shot put event due to a groin injury. And the 20-kilometer walk race, Priyanka Goswami finished in the 34th spot in the women's category and Sandeep Kumar ended in the 40th in the men's category. Hello and welcome to News 9 Special. Let's have a look at the highs and lows of the Indian athletes at the World Athletic Championship 2022 Oricon on day 1 with Sandeep Mishra and Amit Kamath. We will also discuss what's more to come on the second day, but before that, let's have a look at News 9's exclusive interview with Sable.
तो इस रेस का कोई फिनिश करने का मतलब नहीं। हाँ। फाइनल मैच फिनिश करेंगे तो फाइनल में मतलब थोड़ा सा डिस्टर्बेंस भी कर रहे हैं। हाँ। लेकिन कुछ नहीं, फाइनल में जैसे फाइनल में तो चाहे कितनी भी ट्रैक से निकलना पड़ेगा। अभी जैसे हाथ मार रहा था एक एथलीट का तो मैं थोड़ा सा कंट्रोल कर रहा था, चलो कोई नहीं, क्योंकि हमें सेफ होकर भागना है। एंड लास्ट वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप में सारा ऐसे ही हुआ था इसमें। तो मतलब ओवरऑल अच्छा, मतलब जान भी नहीं लगी। वेदर मतलब वैसे हार्ड है, हम इंडियंस के लिए बहुत अच्छा है। अच्छा, क्योंकि हमारे ऐसे सिमिलर वेदर है, जैसे कितना गर्म पटियाला में और चेन्नई में, जैसे हम यूज्ड हैं भागते हैं और चेन्नई भागते हैं, पटियाला में भी जैसे इंडस्ट्रियल वगैरह भागते हैं, तो मतलब हमारे लिए तो ह्यूमिडिटी तो ठीक है, इतना हमारे लिए फास्ट है। क्योंकि जो फाइनल की रेस है इसके हिसाब से मुझे लगता है कि मतलब जो जाएगी हमारी रेंज से जाएगी। मतलब फाइनल का तो काफी फास्ट होगा, टेक्निकल होगा, जैसे सभी भागे तो इस हिसाब से नहीं लगता, जैसे टोक्यो में रेस लगी थी सेम इतनी लग सकती है। ये टेक्निकल रेस होगी फाइनल, टेक्निकल होगी क्योंकि लास्ट लैप पे डिपेंड जाएगा, और जो टोक्यो में रेस हुई थी वही सेम रेस थी। तो आप लास्ट लैप के लिए तैयार हैं? हाँ, मतलब अभी भी मैं फिनिश करना चाह रहा था 200 लास्ट, लेकिन जो डिस्टर्बेंस हुआ। हाँ, अभी अच्छा था, अच्छा दौड़े। हाँ, मतलब फिर भी अच्छा था क्योंकि हमारा टारगेट बस क्वालीफाई करना था, क्योंकि आज अगर हम जान लगा तो भी हम क्या पता इतना रिकॉर्ड नहीं रहते। अभी से 2 दिन रेस्ट है, 2 दिन रेस्ट है, तो अच्छा तैयारी जो तैयार सोच के आए हैं। पूरी कोशिश करेंगे और कोशिश करेंगे कि पिछले ओलंपिक्स में हम कोई बोलता था कि जैसे ड्रामा करके ये फाइनल्स में पहुंचे, तो एक हमने एक इम्प्रूवमेंट किया है कि हम फाइनल में ऐसा कोई अभी नहीं बोलेगा कि ड्रामा करके पहुंचे या गिरे थे या उसके बाद उठे फिर हमने प्रोटेस्ट किया। तो काफी अच्छा लग रहा है। जो कोचेस स्पोर्ट्स में उनका प्लान था कि मैं मतलब 20 से नीचे जाना है आपको, पोजीशन का कोई नहीं था, मुझे पता था मैं लास्ट में पुश कर जाऊंगा। लास्ट में थोड़ा डिस्टर्बेंस हुआ, मैं दिल में कर लेता, जो प्लान है उसके हिसाब से चल रहा है सब कुछ। ठीक है, तो होपफुल है कि फाइनल में भी अच्छा होगा। फाइनल में बिल्कुल जो भी होगा बेस्ट, मतलब पहले तो पूरी की तैयारी करेंगे क्योंकि सपने तो हम बड़े रखेंगे।
Sandeep, we could see the happiness on Sable's face. He was exceptional today. He finished in the 3rd spot by outpacing his opponents in the final minute. This has allowed the athlete to qualify for 2nd consecutive finals of the World Athletic Championship. He finished 13th last time around. Can he improve his standing or even be in the top 3 this time around, Sandeep?
Yeah, I think if you actually see the way that whole race transpired, he stuck to a particular plan. At one point of time, once he slipped to number 6, you felt for a second, you know, if you're looking at the race intensely and you're trying and figuring out, you know, which athlete is doing what.
Right.
If he slips back into 8, 9, 10, then it's very difficult because the group at the back, they honestly, unless they are exceptional kickers at the back, you know, who have a plan that, okay, you're going to be staying there till the last 400 meters or the last 350, 300, which in a steeplechase is extremely difficult because as we spoke about this, it's different from the 5,000 and 10,000. It takes a huge amount of toll on your physically as a runner because of the jumps and the water jumps and whatever the hurdles.
And a lot of strategy is involved.
A huge amount of strategies involved, which we saw again, because from 6 he then gets into number 3. The reason he goes into that number 3 a little faster is because he panicked for a second. He suddenly thought that if I go back to 7, 8, they will kill me off, and then it becomes very difficult to get the automatic slot. In the last, the only concern that for me as an observer, as a fan for track and field, was that he took it a little easier in the last 5 meters. Now that is a point where you start thinking why. The reason probably was that number one, tiredness was coming over him. So he was getting a little bit clouded. He didn't look at the left and the right, that there was somebody creeping in on, you know. He could have easily come to number 4. The number 3 gave him that automatic slot, but that was touch and go. Touch and goes don't happen. Touch and goes only happen when you suddenly get fogged out a little bit, and that thing comes from tiredness, which we saw with the Kenyan who finished 7th. He stumbled. Okay. Now those are the areas that he needs to take care of. If he can take care of that, if he runs a lovely tactical race, he sticks to the top runners, which I'll tell you is so difficult when you have runners like Bakali out there, who's the Olympic champion. He is massive as a runner. I mean, you look at the way he strides. You know, he's like a king on those tracks. And these guys will get overawed. But for Sable, the first thing is, don't take the pressure that you are in a final. It's much easier. But the reason I'm saying this is because this is his second. Okay, he's got the experience. And if he can stick to the top 4, top 5, he has a huge chance for a podium. He has a massive one.
Rightly mentioned, Sandeep. Amit, as we are discussing here, we saw that Sable was at first in the initial minutes, but then he dropped to the 6th spot. Later, through the last dash, he finished in the 3rd spot. Was that a risky move, Amit?
I think it's interesting that you mentioned risk, because just after he broke the national record for the 8th time at the Rabat Diamond League, Avinash, Avinash is not a guy who talks a lot. His answers are usually like 100-meter sprint races. They start and finish, in the blink of an eye. But after he won the national record he set the national record at the Rabat Diamond League, he was in a particularly expressive mood, and he spoke at length about how he became the risk taker that he is. He went on to speak about how after he started training under Nikolai Snasarev in 2017, that was the moment that transformed him into a guy who had very limited ambitions into a complete risk taker. For example, he spoke about the 2018 Federation Cup in Patiala, where when he started, he knew that if he had just run his natural pace, he could have won a gold medal at that race very easily, because at that time, I think the national record was somewhere around 8:30. If you even ran a race in 8:40 or 8:45 seconds, you could have won a gold medal. But Snasarev told him to, go for broke, take a risk, go straight for the national record. And at that stage of his career, he had just won exactly one race in steeplechase. So for a guy like Avinash to, go for broke at that stage, it was a massive mentality change. But he did, and he ended up finishing 2nd. He didn't win the gold because he said that, I ran so far.
There's some... Yeah.
Yeah, so he said he ran so fast at the start that he was exhausted by the end.
Right.
But that risk paid off, because by September 2018, he was already the holder of the national record then.
Right, Amit. Also, Sandeep, as you were mentioning about El Bakali, who is also in the lineup in the finals along with Sable, the Olympic gold winner has a phenomenal personal best of 7:58. Does he has the momentum to break World Athletic Champions record of 8:00.53, which was set by Ezekiel Kemboi in 2009?
I think you're looking at the entire field that's going to be lining up for the final. I don't know if they're going to break a world record out there or not, but this is going to be an extremely fast pace.
Yeah.
This is going to be like each runner out there using their own skills, using their own momentum, using that whole rhythm that comes in a 3000 meter. And between every obstacle that you do, every water jump that you do, there is a certain rhythm that they all understand and try and keep ticking on it. For him, for Bakali, the Moroccan runner, it's always about dominating. If he is not in the top three, if he's not in the top three by the time you're hitting 1000, you're hitting the 2000 meter mark, he kind of falters. You look at historically his races. He has always done well where he's in the top two, where he leads, where he dominates, where he tells you, are you able to beat me? You know, that's what happens there most of the time. They don't look at each other, but the whole physical, the whole body language is always off, that can you go past me? And if you go past me, are you able to sustain that momentum? Because I'm going to come after you. And Bakali he's like a supernova. He's too big as a runner that, you know, that he can think even of failure. For Sable and the others, the only thing is, can you stick to him? Can you stick and keep going round and round on those laps with him, and then have him probably, or reel him in the last 400 meters? Easier said, but to reel Bakali in would also mean that Bakali runs at 60% or even 50% of his capacity as a runner.
Which is not likely.
It's not, because, you know, lung power is so much for that Moroccan runner that if you see him running, you see him, he's always at ease. He's always that runner who's so comfortable on the track that all the time the runners behind him, the runners alongside him are only thinking, what can I do that I can, if I beat him or if I go ahead him, always understand, if you go ahead of Bakali, you are always afraid that he will again outrun you, and then what you want to do? Do you have those plans with you? Bakali has every plan stitched up. Now it's going to take something very extraordinary out there to happen, somebody out there who can really outpace him, outrun him in the last 100, 200 to be able to beat him. If that pace is set, you have a world record, or you have something closer to a world record.
But Sandeep, we can't undermine the Kenyans who have won the event 13 times out of the last 15, and we have 3 Kenyans in the finals. So, and the last championship event was also won by a Kenyan. So can they retain the top spot yet again? No,
I think this time they're probably in a tight spot out there. They have 3 runners. They got one who's probably 7th and 10th in the last World Championships. But they really don't have a top-notch runner at this moment of time. I don't know for what reason that they really haven't been after the Olympic Games. But I thought they'll probably catch up in this 1.5 year period or 1 year period that they had. But with Bakali, this is his moment. This is his moment to claim Olympic gold. This is his moment to claim a World Championship gold and announce to the world that Morocco is there, and, you know, he's going to be the catalyst for more runners to come through. And that Kenyan domination, you can't even call it a domination. I mean, if somebody has cantered through all the World Championships, winning all the golds, and even after when Qatar won those 2, I think it was just a nationality change of Kenyan becoming a Qatari, you know. So that was it. But this time, I do believe that Bakali is going to be very tough to beat. Very tough to beat.
Certainly, Sandeep, Bakali could put an end to Kenya's dominance in this particular event. But let's move on to the next event, which is long jump. Amit, where in the long jump event, we saw that Sreeshankar pulled off an 8-meter long jump. But why, Amit, only 2 athletes, Hashioka and Dendi, could surpass the 8.13 qualifying mark? Any particular reason behind that?
You know, Hardik, honestly, I wouldn't read too much into that, because the fact of the matter is that in the long jump, the qualification and the finals are just 1 day apart. So there is no real point for all these top guys also to go for broke when they know that they can also qualify as the top, as the best 12 jumpers. If you look at history, and I'm only talking about recent history, you look at the Doha World Championships, as far as I remember, I think only 7 jumpers had crossed the 8-meter mark in qualifying. If you look at the Tokyo Olympics, I think only 8 jumpers crossed the 8-meter mark. So even today, I think there were just 7 jumpers who went past 8 meters, including Sreeshankar.
Right.
So it's still par for the course. That is how long jump events kind of
Maybe
pan out.
it's strategic. They don't want to, you know, put a lot of energy in this particular event in the qualifying stages?
There's actually no point putting too much energy or going for broke so early, because you don't have the time to rest that maybe the other events do. Like even your events like javelin and things like that, they have at least 2 or 3 days of a gap at the very minimum. In long jump, it's just a 24-hour gap. In 24 hours, you come back here, you again jump against the same competitors. So there's no point. Once you made your way into the finals, then you don't have to. Which is why if you look at some of the results that we saw, you look at the Greek jumper Tentoglu. I think his jump today was somewhere around 803. Uh, Now, bear in mind that Tentoglu is somebody who is coming to the outdoor world championships as a 24-year-old who's pretty much won everything there is to win in world athletics. He's an Olympic gold medalist. He's a world indoors gold medalist. He's a European indoors gold medalist. He's a European outdoors gold medalist. So the world championships outdoor is the only gold medal that still evades him. Uh, and he also didn't seem to go for broke, right? Because he just jumped 8.3 and then he was done with it.
Amit, I just wanted to check with you when we say rhythm and momentum in the long jump. Will it really affect Sreeshankar that he's not jumped his optimum that he can? I mean 8.36 is his best. So for someone who hasn't touched 8.10, 8.12 in these conditions, do you think he in his mind he can probably think and say that, okay, in the final, this is my mark, this is what I'm supposed to do. At some point, does that momentum also come in when you know that you've not jumped that much and you're trying to keep your energy levels low? The inexperience might play up or something out there, which probably the other ones, as you said, can keep the energy there and probably put a mark and feel that, okay, my final jump is going to be this much. Can Sreeshankar look at it that way?
For Sreeshankar, I think the one good thing that has happened is he's already gone through these moments of fire. He's already had the Doha World Championships under his belt, where he was criticized widely in India for not performing to his optimal level. And then at Tokyo Olympics, again, he was criticized and panned in India because he could not jump to his level. So now I'm pretty sure he understands how to pace himself, how to find that rhythm going into a final. And the good part is at least he's that mental barrier that you may have that, the 8 meters. I mean, for us and just as the athletes, this is a barrier of sorts. The 8 meters, the 8.5s, the 8.10s, these round figures, there is a romanticism involved around it. We might think that what is the difference between a 7.99 or an 8? It's less than your finger's breadth, but then it still matters for these guys. So for Sreeshankar, I think the mental barrier has already been crossed. That he's already crossed 8 in qualification, and I think not a lot of people have been ahead of him. There are a couple of jumpers who just jumped 8.4 or 8.3. So he knows that he has that mental that mental check in his mind that there are a very few jumpers who've done better than me. So maybe he'll carry that into the final. We'll have to see how he performs eventually.
So what's your prediction?
I'm kind of hoping he at least finishes in the top 5 because see, obviously I understand that Echevarria is somebody who's not competed since the Tokyo Olympics, so that is one big name who's not going to be competing in the finals. So that's one name definitely out of the podium contention. You also have somebody like a TJ Gale from Jamaica, who was the reigning champion of the World Championship last year, who could not compete at all. He was at the World Championships, but I think he picked up an injury or something, which is why he could not compete. So those are two big names who are not in the finals tomorrow. So that kind of cuts down the field a little bit. But even then, if you look at the top guys this year, somebody like Montler has had a great season so far, and I don't think we should forget the fact that the world leader this year in long jump is actually a decathlete. So he's also, and the decathlete has decided to, focus merely solely on long jump for this year, and then from the European Championships, maybe focus back on decathlon. So the top three, I think, will be something like a Tentoglu, E Hammer, who's the decathlete I'm talking about, and maybe a Montler.
Okay, Amit, but interestingly, in the 2009 World Athletic Championship, Dwight Phillips won the long jump event with a jump of 8.32 meter, which is one of the least tally at the World Athletic Championships. As you mentioned that in the qualifying stages, they didn't put in much effort, but can we expect a below par performance this time around from the jumpers in the finals?
I don't think we can pretty much predict how things play out in the finals, because the fact that Echevarria is not there, and Echevarria is somebody who's constantly raised the bar for men's long jump, that kind of also is a bad sign, because somebody like a Tentoglu, if you remember at the Tokyo Olympics, Tentoglu only won the gold medal because of a count back, because his second best jump was better than Echevarria's jump. So, so that's also a kind of a thing that tells you that maybe, just maybe, the top jump at the gold medal winning jump, the silver medal winning jump, may not be as good as previous editions. But again, depending on the weather conditions, depending on how the athletes are feeling when they actually get to the marks, who knows how it pans out.
Rightly mentioned, Amit. Let's move on to the 100-meter race, 100-meter sprint. What shall I say about Fred Curley, Sandeep? It was a sensational sprint by the US athlete in the 100-meter category. Firstly, his burst at the start of the race, then his de-acceleration at the 70-meter mark. Simply amazing. He finished the sprint in 9.79 seconds in the heats, which is a new record. So, Sandeep, can we expect Usain Bolt's record of 9.58 to be broken this time around in the finals?
It all depends on the start. I mean, if this guy has a similar start and then, the deceleration is not there, he does it only at 90. That's what Bolt used to do. Okay. So, if the start is there, then of course you can expect anything to happen out there. Bromwell has said that he's capable of running 9.60. But don't discount, never discount Christian Coleman. Never. I mean, that's a huge risk any runner will take. He's there in the shadows. He has a lot to prove. Marcel is there. He has a lot to prove. And there is something about when runners are running in the shadows of 10:01, 10:02, 10:03, it's something that they keep for the final, for the semi-final. Even the semi-final, they'll probably be at half keg. But for the final, at this moment of time, Curley is out and out favorite. Anybody who runs like that, anybody who has a start like that is an out favorite. Johan Blake is out because if you really see him, I don't think, if he crosses the semi-final, that's an achievement for him. But the rest of the field, Marcel, Christian Coleman, Bromwell, Curley, these are the guys to look forward to. Breaking a world record happens on the start. You can never do it if you have a bad start. It's almost impossible unless you are a Usain Bolt and you have that catch up with you. For the rest of them, who pushes who is going to decide that 100-meter final. It's going to be fascinating, and I'm just, I can't even, I wish it was the next hour, I mean, that
it's not long away though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm that excited about the 100. Though for me, it's always the 800 and the 1500 that's more fascinating as a fan for track and field. But this is one race everybody's looking forward to, simply because you can expect a lot of fireworks here. And if those fireworks happen, if a world record even doesn't happen, even if it's close, you expect a fantastic race out there. So that's going to happen.
Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you, Amit. That's it from this episode. And we'll be back again with more interesting news, insights, facts and figures from the World Athletic Championship. Until then, keep watching News 9. Also, if you liked our analysis, then don't forget to press the like button. And if you want to stay updated with our videos, then please press the bell button. This is Hardik Agrawal signing off.